Can't imagine why. There's construction all over the place. Everything's getting tore up around here. Hello, you guys.
Kim.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kim.
I don't know how I can let it do a full screen.
Okay.
Actually, do you know?
What?
Will it do a full screen?
Oh,
or
do we
just
have to
for-
have ours on there? I mean, for us to view?
I think you,
Can you take this off? On this side?
well, go to view.
If you take that off, it may not do the recording for you
Oh.
guys, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. I see what you're saying. Okay, all right. That's all right.
What's that say right there?
Immersive. I mean, you can
Full
try it.
screen?
Yeah, try that. I don't know, what's the immersive image?
That's okay. That's
We
okay.
don't want that way. You could let it go to speaker and then it would, I mean,
Go ahead.
whoever's talking,
Yeah.
go back and forth.
That's all right, this will be fine.
I guess we could take.
Then we'll walk up with some Smartie money there on the table. Oh. You're gonna get Smartie today with that candy.
I do know those things to be the most addictive.
They're pretty good, but I like the sweet part better.
All right, this is a continuation of the Wimps County Board of Commissioners meeting from Monday. It's Tuesday, September 20th, 9:05 a.m. Roll call, please.
Brent Gentry. Jim Marlowe.
Present.
Jim Atkinson.
On Zoom, we have Kim Meyer. And so today, we're going to be talking to some of the office holders. First one in the chute would be animal control. Sounds appropriate.
Yeah, in the chute.
Indeed.
That's right.
I got it.
Like cattle to the slaughter, right? Is that fair to say?
Go ahead.
Custodian now?
Yeah.
Actually, you can sit up here. You can sit up here. Red's not gonna be here.
Wonder.
I don't want
You need help
to,
setting up the
I don't
tables.
want to portray any.
Hey,
Do other.
you go pull up here, what do you do?
I'll say.
You want to sit?
Help me bring it up
Well,
there.
whatever you want to do, it's up to you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get on.
Island,
Go ahead.
hey, your
All
island.
right, told by Stephanie about a week or so ago, she mentioned that we could talk about that truck that I have either prepared.
Yeah, we talk.
Okay. All right, I've got some more numbers on the repair of that truck. Not already on it. Shops. Last two pages of the value of the truck, just so you Yeah, so just like you guys know, that you're looking at, what hitting up for us at just three. But everyone, of course, they're pretty similar within, a few $100 up to $1,000 or so cheaper. But again, that truck, as you can see, last two pages of that is private party value, trading value, so the truck, it's an old truck.
So is this one of the trucks that's going to be traded in?
Yeah, but the trucks aren't going to be delivered until probably January at the earliest.
January.
So, I mean, we were told that they were going to either accept or run production for all 22 models through the end of December. And then release them. So could be January, could be February, but he's gonna need that truck released,
Okay.
probably 6 months.
I got one
Close
question.
to-
Is this going to leave you short if this truck is out of commission? Is there a truck that you
You don't
can
want to
use?
drive them
Okay,
down.
so, yeah, we do. It's a 2002 Chevy. However, it's very, very rough. Doesn't have kennels in the back of it for my guy to use, my pool to use, does not have a radio in it for dispatch. it was a spare truck that we kept whenever we got this 18. We didn't get rid of it, we just left it out there and we use it just kind of as a runner truck, pickup thing, whatever, you know. It's not fully functional. I will tell you, Sean's driving it right now. The air does not work in it. It's gonna be 100 degrees next 2 days.
Is that truck gonna be one to be traded in as well?
Yep.
Okay. Can the kennels be switched over and the radios?
We can, it's just gonna cost money to have that done. Now the kennels, we possibly could, if they'll fit truck to truck, we could probably just swap them out. The radio's gonna cost you a visit and another home, you know, but temporarily.
But my question is knowing what the values are of that truck, we're getting ready to put in anywhere from $45,000 to $6,000 into a truck worth about $3,000. Is that smart? And then are you gonna get that kind of money out when you trade it in? No. Heck no.
No.
So,
I agree with that truck, but I'm talking about the truck that Sean's driving right now. Okay, can that get you through till January?
As of right now, it can. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is right now. I mean,
Right.
it's just the
Right.
timing of everything and it just happened to fall. I would say if you could use that truck, utilize it, take it in, see what the air conditioner's gonna cost you to fix, you know? I'm not gonna put a ton of money in it.
Right.
That's your decision though.
Because
That's your,
that's a truck that we're getting ready to what?
Right.
You know,
so I would say between
Yeah.
two trucks, look at yours, get the air fixed.
I kind of thought that's the way we were gonna go with this
Yeah.
once Desmond started
That's
rolling
just
on
me.
this truck. I understand that. I wouldn't want to spend any kind
but
of
the
time
air
on
just
that
be
truck either.
free on, I mean, could just
It
be.
could be possible. We haven't
Could
had
be
looked
just a leak.
at. Haven't had looked at, so that's fine. We'll just get that truck.
We're only talking, you know, you talk 4 or 5 months.
Well, that was the limit from the get-go. You know, we didn't know how long we're gonna keep running these trucks. Do we put the money to fix them, or do we just try to ride it out, do whatever we have to do, you know?
I think if you just do that to that one truck, that'd be great.
Okay, all right. I'll do what I can to get it up to par again. That's fine. Yes, today.
Teacher.
All right, a few things on that summary I just gave you there.
Steph, you want to make a copy and email it to Kim?
So what I've got for next year, one of the couple of things that sticks out, my employees, their union contract expires November 30th, which,
We've already been contacted.
okay. So what I've done as far as their rate increases, I just put in 70 cents. I know that's been the raise that they've been negotiated over the years. I think this last one was 55. I just put in 70 on the higher side, so we got something to work up with. Same thing with my salary increase for the year as well. Overtime, I increased that line a little bit just simply because wages going up. I have to adjust that a little bit. Obviously, the more that the wages are, the more it's going to cost us, so I just keep that just enough to cover us. My truck budget, that's kind of a coin toss right now.
Yep.
Gas is through the roof. We got that pending the truck lease. So it's my understanding, actually, right, the repairs and repair cost is going to be included in lease, right?
Well, that's one discussion point I was gonna have, since I think I can include that in budgeting, is that the commissioners are gonna approve the maintenance contracts with Enterprise to allow them to, negotiate the maintenance for any and all repairs. And also, be able to use the dashboard to its fullest extent and have all the vehicle information, at everybody's fingertips that
Will they come in with the 336 Orange County all, or is it just right out of the gate? It's our base.
So the maintenance program, like you got your normal stuff, but the maintenance program, if we pay the maintenance program, which is in essence, I think it's like, comes out to like 10 cents a mile, I think, for the trucks, and 7 cents a mile for the vehicles. They handle everything for Kevin. So if Kevin's got an air conditioner that goes out, he takes it to one of the the approved vendors, which Hale and Best One Tire and Rogers and pretty much, I mean, there's multiple dealers and vendors that are within that network. They send the information to Enterprise and say, okay, we think it needs, if they say, we think it needs a whole new compressor, and they look at it and they're like, no, there's no way this truck needs a compressor. It's either under warranty or two, it can get away with doing Freon, or they say it needs a compressor and they're gonna charge $600, and they say, no, the going market rate is $400. They negotiated everything on our behalf. And then everything is paid through Enterprise because we're already paying for the maintenance deal. They negotiate the stuff, they enter payment between the parties, and then the dashboard has all those, has every single maintenance issue, stop, in there, and you can see it as a commissioner. Like, you'll have view only status to be able to see what every one of those trucks are doing. Kevin will have like administrative rights and like for his animal control, so he'll be able to see, when they're getting gas, when they're, what maintenance is being done on the vehicles and everything through that as well. So, I mean, it's for moving forward and to move into like this next phase. I mean, it's something that I think the county needs to add and use.
So, again, if these trucks come in and 0 miles on them, do we have warranty on them? Anything goes wrong to 36,000 miles? Like a car you drive off the lot.
I mean, that I don't know. I think so. But I mean, I can.
Because otherwise, we're talking about an extension of the warranty, not, I mean, that is crucial to me. I would have thought immediately you'd have 36,000 miles covering everything. If not, then it can get pretty pricey.
I don't know how lease agreement, but I could just be.
I mean, I'm texting him about something or emailing about something. I can ask him about that as well, just to verify that.
Because if you have something about 5,000 miles,
Is that
bad
kind of
deal.
old
Right.
changes?
Right.
The only thing it doesn't cover is oil changes and tires, but as we were talking, I mean, obviously you're gonna have an oil change. I mean, but most of these are every, 10,000 miles now. Tires, depending upon if you're averaging 10,000 miles on a vehicle, you may go through one set of tires before we're gonna be trading those in and getting, new rolling stock. So you're probably looking at one set of tires and maybe, 4 or 5 oil changes, per vehicle.
The only reason why I ask this, if it's so many cents a mile, and it's our baby right out of the gate with no warranty, well, heck, you get a lemon vehicle come out off the line and 3,000 miles down the road, something happens to it, we're eating it right out of the gate. That's not a good deal.
Brent, actually, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
I would assume that 10 cents a mile starts on day one, when we get these, right? So that's an extra 12, it's a 12,000 mile a year lease. It's $1,200 a year. And we're paying from day one, and we might already have coverage.
So. Figure
Yeah,
out.
I'll email and find out what the specifics are of that.
Yeah, what I was getting at with as far as my truck budget, last year we increased it to 18,000 for fuel repair costs, because we talked about the trucks being older and repairs and things. Up to date, I've spent almost half of that just on fuel, because fuel is ridiculous right now. So what I did, I left that the same for 2023's budget.
So you budget that though when it's like $5 a gallon.
At least 4, yeah, I mean,
It's on-
but I left my truck budget the same because of the truck. I didn't want, I wouldn't even short ourselves, depending on if we had to do maintenance or if we had, whatever we had to do with them. So I wasn't gonna just immediately cut that down because we weren't gonna fix them, So I left that the same. And the fuel is going down just a bit, but it's still, I'm not gonna say manageable, but it's better than what it was for sure. Like I said, I've spent half that 18,000 on fuel home this year. My building budget, my office budget, I just increased that just a little bit there, just by a few $100, just because everything else is going up, just a little bit more, keep going. Utilities, I did raise them up like everything else going up. My energy, my building's going up again, so there's just slight increases there. Nothing wild, nothing crazy on that. truck budget and my employees' contract, those are the two that are some unknowns. Really, of course, we don't know what anything's gonna do, but those are the only two lines that we don't have.
Your IT or your internet, who's that? with?
Project.
Project. Okay. Personally, I like to see everybody get on, be consistent. You know, we have clear wave here,
They may not.
You can't get out
but
there.
they may not have.
I
Okay,
think that was the problem last time.
I mean, Kevin and I researched, I mean,
that's all.
all optional companies that would possibly do it. And I think Protect was the only one that provided,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
had service that could,
Right.
Get out.
you know, remain constant.
Yeah, it works pretty well. Yeah, and they've actually got satellite up pretty high up.
Have you had any issues with the phones?
Yep.
So cutting out or?
Yep, static cutting out, when it does rain, it's even worse, you know.
Are your phones and my telephones, they the same as what we have here?
We have, what is it, Second Frontier?
They,
Is it
yeah, they're on
landline?
Frontier out there.
Yeah,
I paid a bill for Frontier for. They're the only ones. on
but no, the internet service before we had ProTech, all we had was a hotspot for Verizon. You know, that's all we ran on.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was able to get ProTech at a very
I got you.
cost that was very similar to what we
Sure.
were probably in its own.
That would make sense.
So anyway, I know it's going up and for that ahead of time, so it's going up a few $100 for the year over next year, so I had to increase that line. But of course, everything else as well. But you said you've been contacted about negotiations already for my employees' contracts?
Yes.
So that's something that would have to be, you just leave that open.
Yeah, we took the 7 day.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we have a set date. But on your salary, you got it listed as 70% increase. Normally we have all 70 cent, not 70%, 70 cents. And we normally have office holders 2%.
2%.
Yeah, that would take you to roughly, I think it's a few $100 less. 56,287. You got 56,639. 2%.
How many hours you guys work out there?
A year?
You working 2,000 hours?
I mean, boy, it's 40 hours a week.
It is a
Every day and
40
it's overtime.
28.
Okay, the warden overtime. Okay,
That's regular budgeted overtime. I say budget, that's overtime that I budgeted for on top of holidays. Whenever-
for the employees.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I don't get overtime. I don't get anything like that. So what that is, whenever we have holidays, I have to pay my employees to go out there and feed and clean. We have to, that's state statute. So according to the contract, that's double time, 2 hours double time on holidays. So that is included in this.
So with the Frontier phones and everything, I know with them having to get ProTech out there and everything, I don't know how that would work if we're talking about a countywide phone system.
Yeah,
How that would work with that.
Yeah, we'll just have to have, and look at it and see what can be done.
And we'll see. We're trying to get all phones on one, servers. Might be a dialogue out there, just for your.
Kind of no man's land.
We always are.
Well, the good news is for you,
Yeah.
we have kicked around. So might try to work on maybe getting them those places.
Yes,
We talked about years,
absolutely.
Yeah.
but we're trying to set some money back to start working that direction, which will take time. But you're kind of in a place where they can strip that away in no time.
Well, honestly, I think with the money that we have in that was left over from the revolving loan fund account. Ken, do you remember how much we had in that? 250 or something like that?
Like in the 250 range, yeah.
I don't see why we couldn't start now. Honestly, at least go ahead and getting, talking to an architect. I think Terry Watts had plans.
I still have it.
You still have those plans? Maybe after budgeting, take a look at those plans, get back together.
Legal plans.
Let's all look at them. If you think that there needs to be a change, you're the director out there now, so let's take a look at those. And
Yeah, I remember that. That's been 4 or 5 years ago. I
It's
think,
been a
but still,
while.
We, of course, you know, we know our needs, what we did without their way.
Right.
And then we visited several animal controls around, see what
Uh-huh.
they've got, what we want.
Yeah.
We come up with our own, but yeah, you really need an architect to design it
Yeah,
and make sure, and working with us to make sure it's gonna be functional.
absolutely, absolutely.
For sure.
You know, I think with the architect, correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, an architect would be professional services. So, we wouldn't need necessarily have to take bids on as far as using an architect. I know we use that Steve Mabel in the, on the board. Yeah, I thought Steve did a pretty good job.
Yeah,
So,
you have to.
We had several.
but then when it comes down to the actual numbers and stuff, building it, yeah, we have to take.
We have several architects in the county.
But yeah,
We keep them in the county.
but
I'm glad you brought
just
that
from
up.
experience, so we don't have to.
We talked, we had a
go
conversation
bid
earlier this fall,
on building.
so I think it's possible.
Yeah, I know, I mean, it's a very, very old building, and I've got 3 or 4 windows that need to be replaced now. Consider looking into, and again, just like these trucks.
Yeah.
How much do you want to keep putting into it, something that might go away?
Yeah, well, personally, like I said, I think we have the money right now to go ahead and start moving forward with this. So I would recommend after budgeting, get serious on this
Yeah.
and let's start looking at the plans.
Yeah.
And once we agree on the plans, we'll just get hold of an architect for the next step. So I'd like to see it put on the property, which is centrally located, you know. The only problem I see is we gotta make an access. I know there is a road there. It's overgrown, but the gravel base is there. So, we could have 2 entrances, actually, one off 37 and one off of the back road going into.
Yeah, you're talking about up by a highway, and the mortgage on that way.
Yeah, that'd be kind of pricey with the road in, but
We
to
could,
put it all together, say.
yeah,
Yeah.
if we're gonna do it, let's do it right. And, let's get a decent animal control out there.
As long as they're gonna
One
get used to the noise.
of a visiting room and everything like that, so. I don't think you're gonna wake the neighbors to the south.
To the south, probably not, they're
Yeah.
pretty quiet, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty okay. So,
Okay, back to this worksheet, got a few more things here. The top line, the administrator, that's the county administrator, that's Dr. Ryan, Central Hospital. They're really good to us, they take care of us, and they do everything they need done. That's what we've been giving him, for several years now, and I don't think there's a reason to change any of that. Other lines are salaries, overtime. Down towards the bottom, the clothing allowance, the employee expense, that's contractual. Yep. Again, negotiations coming up with that. We have a training fund, which $1,000 goes pretty far for training. We try to do some training once a year. I'll let that one as well. I don't have a whole lot of increases getting into next year. Like I said, trucks was an issue that, obviously we're dealing with that now, and then just my employees contract.
I got his salary, 2% increase. Which got 53 cents.
52, 287. What you got?
I got 53.
Yes.
1% on top.
Yeah, it's usually around 52, 53.
Yeah.
That's what it's been the last couple of years. The contract that my employees are under now, theirs are 55.
56, 287.
Yeah, I budgeted for 70, I just did 70 across the board because they're contract. just to have a IRS number to go by. You know, any
We're
questions?
probably halfway through your contract. We have a 4-year contract. I'm good.
Nope. Do you want to look at some numbers on those, on the new trucks, these trucks? I got some information on those. I'll talk about that. So we can, I already got some of this information ready.
Addressing amount.
Yep, what's it gonna cost to get them serviceable?
Good.
I might have sent some to you guys as I was getting back in. But that top page is from Wesley, it's the graphics of the trucks, it's just similar to EMA, similar to the sheriff's department. The original one is the same. Now that price is on that $590, that is per truck, okay? Next 2 pages, I got one from Auto Trim Design, one from Stern Sales. For these are gonna be for step bars to get in the trucks, drop in bed liners, back the trucks. That first quote from Auto Trim, that is for 4 trucks at $2,092. Quote from Stearns is $2690 per truck. The bed liners are necessary, that those.
Stearns didn't do the bed line, they didn't.
No, they did bed liner and,
Yeah.
yeah, I have the same quote from Stearns and Auto Trim. I got 2 quotes on that, but those trucks with those being 4-wheel drive trucks, we're gonna have to have step bars to get up in them. I'm not saying you had Terry put them on the truck I'm driving because whenever you are out, like, you know, they're higher up. So you need those step bars, that's just a single step bar, single cap step bar. The bed liners, we need those. We got the bed liners for the dogs. You don't, and they do get kind of warm in the sun, but they're easier to clean out, and you don't want dog, the metal on the metal. So you gotta have that on dropping bed liners. So that's what you're looking at. So there's 2 quotes from Stearns and Auto Trim.
Those cages in the back, I mean, those bolted to the truck.
No, they're not. They're the main dimension are similar with all these trucks. The way they're made now, and it's something that I'm working with Harris Spence on, kind of maybe coming up with some type of different design for them. Right now, they've got braces that are either welded on or clamped on. They go out and down into the holes in the bed rails. It keeps them from moving back and forth.
Gotcha.
Okay, the issue that we have whenever we get a new truck is those have to be modified, fabricated to fit whatever new model truck you get. So I'm gonna try to come up, I can't say I can, but I like to get something that's more universal. You know, you got worried about having a fat every time you get a truck. So again, what I had, this was the last page of, I got this from Terry Spence. I took one of our trucks over there in my truck, this 18 Dodge, because it's very similar to what we're gonna be getting. And they give me a quote, which is, you can see, just over $1,100 for brand new kennels. Now, I'm not saying that we can't use our existing kennels and save some money there and have them fitted to new trucks. I'm fine with that, have them fixed to whatever. That's that's what new would be, okay? And that's per truck. So you're looking
So
at
this is for each one.
at least 3. If we're getting 4 trucks, I'm probably not gonna outfit my truck with kennels, but that would be for 3. So I did some rough figures on that. It's gonna be, somewhere, if I remember right, somewhere around $7,000 per truck to have them outfitted, ready to go. Everything is in front of you.
It's less than 1 car.
And Novacom is, that's the lights, new radios, grill lights, LED lights, things like that we need when we're out on the road. And installation costs, everything, just over $3,500 per truck.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's gonna be 4 trucks.
He brought up something here that's sparked my interest. So on the lease, we're putting in, let's say, $7,000 to dress this out, okay? Then after the years of the lease, we turn those trucks back in, or we can keep them.
Well, I mean, you can keep them. You
But I
can
mean, you're gonna be 7,000 every 3 years.
Well,
Addressing a vehicle.
that crossed my mind as well, and I thought that
And squad cars are more, they're 11. Well,
actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that the lease could be
You can make the lease as long as you want. They give you the optimum time to trade in or return the vehicles to be able to rotate and capture the maximum amount of equity for the next round of vehicles. So from all of their research and information they have, 4 years is where they see that you can still optimally trade one in. We don't have to. You can keep one for 6 years if you want, or you can keep it for 8. He's just saying that your amount of equity position is going to diminish. I mean, after you get past that, 4-year cycle. So, but as a county, you call the shots on how long you want to, have the lease and how long you want it to do. It would just be that whenever you were going to, so, and I think if you remember, when I gave you that, it showed like a 5 or 8 year payout. And there were some years where it was like extremely low because you had traded them in and then you had gotten your equity back. And then, so that number was lower, then it goes up and it kind of like ebbs and flows. You can keep them for as long as you want, just that you may have a more static amount that you're paying out each year, rather than having that one dip in a year where you're trading them in, earning all the equity position of all the trade-ins, and then rolling it over into.
No, I only asked that because naturally numbers are in my head all the time, and if you talk about the warranty.
I got information on that already.
Okay.
So he said here, the vehicles have a warranty, it's intact on the lease, just like it is on purchase. The warranty does not cover, any scheduled maintenance, and this program does. This program also covers any and all mechanical issues that fall outside of the warranty. Warranty coverage is taken into account when coming up with the cost of the program. The cost that we quote you for the coverage is representative of all maintenance you would pay out of pocket if you didn't have the program. He said he'd be happy to, schedule time to explain.
So the bottom line is there's
It's
warranty.
making no changes.
Well, it doesn't, he already said it doesn't cover rule changes.
So what maintenance could we
Tire rotation, air filters, like whenever you take your car to a dealership, they, they do whatever the point inspection and your schedule, fluid changes and like, I guess maybe transmission fluid changes that, are extra than an oil change. I would assume that's what it includes in that program. That'd be what would be covered. But they do get the warranty just like we
Just like you
buy
bought
off
this
the
one. Okay. And then, so we have $28,000 on 4 vehicles, dress them up. And that concerned me was how often we have to dress them up. You just keep putting in 28,000.
Right.
I'm just trying to get it all figured out here, so.
Well, we may decide that 6-year lease term or something along.
Yeah.
We may decide at the end.
Whatever makes
To
sense.
buy it, it may make more financial sense to purchase the trucks at the end of this.
So, yeah, that
We've
was,
gone way past.
that's one thing that crossed my mind as well, you're leasing trucks, let's say theoretically 4 or 5 years, whatever the lease may be, you're putting that into trucks that you don't own, but yeah, if the trucks are good, there's no reason why you just can't renew your lease and keep the same vehicle.
Okay, we'll handle that whenever we get to that.
Right,
We're
I just
running a
want
little
you
over.
to have something to go by.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
John, what's all this under you then?
Yeah, just holler whenever you're ready.
No, we have to switch your arm and get you one, but that's just the way it goes.
It's time. It's needed for sure.
If you have eye, if there are eyes.
In the hot seat.
See about it.
Been a little bit since I've come to see you, so you, Tim, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Lynn Hines, County Director with U of I Extension, serving Williamson County. Also serving Franklin, Jackson, Perry, and Murdoch County. So, again, it's been a few years, but I hope that you're all receiving our monthly reports. They should be coming to your email. We call them, impacting you. That's just to keep you in the loop about the things that are happening in our communities. So I've just included the last 3 months there, just in case you haven't had a chance to look at those, but there are Williamson County highlights in each of those reports. We typically try to pick out a highlight from each county. Okay, so I submitted our budget proposal, just a little bit of background about U of I Extension. We have a levy in Williamson County. I did propose about a 3% increase this year, just to help keep up with some cost of living. Otherwise, don't anticipate a whole lot of other increases, just your typical cost of living. So about Illinois Extension, sometimes people say, why University of Illinois? That's because University of Illinois is our state's only land grant university. Land grants have a 3-part mission: the research and the teaching that happens on campus, and then the extension. And so we actually have a federal requirement to extend university resources into every community in the state of Illinois. So every county in the state of Illinois, every resident in the state of Illinois, no matter how much money they make, no matter what their skin color, they have access to mostly free resources, programming, positive youth development, everything from aging, living well, how to grow food, commercial agriculture, and then on down to the social emotional wellness. So that's just us in a nutshell. So we've been around since 1914, and again, we sort of have a federal requirement to extend university resources everywhere in the state of Illinois. So what those programs look like in the counties really depends on what the local support looks like. It's not just local support, we're diversely funded. We're a combination of the local funds, which here is mostly the county board through the levy, and then that state match piece. So if the county board piece were to go away or decline, that state match would decline. And then typically how many people you can house in a county, how much rent you can pay in a county, of course that correlates with what that local support looks like. So state match this year, it was a great year. IDOA released state match, and it was at a much higher match rate than normally. Normally it's been about 65%, but this year they matched about close to 90%. So I've got a chart here in this slide to show you what that looks like. So you can see the county board piece, like I said, the state match, which correlates directly with that. I think it's because it's an election year, maybe. They set that nice and high this year, so we're okay with that. So that's the state piece. The 4-H premiums from IDOA, they come in and they go out. That goes into the pockets of youth that show 4-H projects. Federal Smith Lever dollars, what came to Williamson County directly was about about 17,000 to Williamson County. And then federal SNAP Ed, we hold the federal SNAP education grant, meaning that comes down in the Farm Bill. We don't administer SNAP benefits. That's not in our wheelhouse, but we do the education piece. Same as SNAP benefits come in the Farm Bill, that's where this federal funding comes from. So directly to Williamson County was about $85,000. So that supports staffing, direct nutrition education programming, all over the county. Are there any questions about sources of revenue for Williamson County?
I have one.
Yeah.
So you said something about a 3% increase. You've got 123.6 as your proposal. But the extension for this tax cycle references 135,716.
So I have a question about that. Thank you for bringing that up. So I thought that our levy was set at $120,000. But I've noticed the last couple of years, you've been giving us 135 something.
Well, I mean, the extension was for 135,716.
So that's where the levy is set.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I have to write over to you. And then the prior year, I wrote over 136.
Yeah, I saw that.
So what?
And Lan, as a board member of you, I want to know what the parentheses are underneath the deficit, so.
Oh, no. Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yes,
expense over income.
So
Okay, so what I thought was happening.
So that might make up the difference here.
Okay, so that would be my preference. I thought that the levy was set at 120 and that you were scooting some additional to us, maybe from general. I never did ask that question. But if that's what the levy is set at, I would love for it to just remain the same and then you could see we would be in excellent shape if that's what the levy is set at.
Because if you come to our board meeting and you show me
I'm
this, I'm gonna ask you why we're $5,000 low. So, I'll ask you going,
Well, I don't know. I guess my question is, can it be lower? I mean, here's what, so I'd always been told, that you had to get proportionate increases in order for your state funding to continue to go up or however that goes. But, I mean, obviously, if we don't give you that dollar, then we get to keep that dollar for our general fund, which we're going to need. So I guess my question is, can you accept, and this is obviously the commissioner's decision, but can you accept 130 or something and get you in your positive and a little bit of a cushion and not the full 135, and then so that's $5,000 that can go back into our
Right.
general fund.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that was commissioner's decision.
Exactly. But I'm proposing that based off of what she's budgeting
Right.
and presenting, to you.
Right.
And that's why I was
Yeah.
throwing that
No,
out.
all right.
Well, that is fair. So may I please resubmit my budget? Knowing that, again, I'm sorry, I thought the levy was set at that. And so I'm happy to submit at 130 or 135. That we're in pretty good shape here in Williamson County. It seems to be growing, and I think you were one of the few counties that actually had population growth. Is that right? With the
That's
new
correct.
census?
but it's your board meeting.
It's small.
But what I would say, if you have that $5,000 deficit, you better find some cutting. But you have to have a balanced budget, so you better have some more money here.
I would like to respectfully resubmit my budget proposal.
So to
I
130,
understand.
We can do.
You live at 130,
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
I
that'll.
just wrote it down.
all right. And you just send it to,
Okay, Stephanie, I will resend that. Just a quick note, overall last year, we reached about 6,436 people directly with our programs. That means that they were touched directly with an educational effort in the area of food, health, economy, environment. The case to not decline our funding, which I know that technically that's what we are looking at, but it puts me in a place that I thought sorry about that. But we do come alongside with other community partners. We complement, we don't compete. We're really proud of that fact. These programs and others, community partners, our case for funding is we're prevention education. We, with our positive youth development, we're teaching those kids avenues and healthy ways of doing things that keeps them out of juvenile detention, keeps them out of jail as adults. So that is a little bit about us. You can see we reached about 27% of Williamson County youth between the ages of 5 and 18. So your 4-H kids, there's about 10,816 eligible 4-H youth in the county. We reached about 3,000 of them, a lot of them through our classroom programs. Do you have any questions for me about anything? Okay.
as your board member, I like that money going up, not down.
I know, well, I
like your credit.
so probably next year I'll say, can we?
160.
But we're lucky, you can see we're in good shape, we're happy, thank you for your support, and I'll resubmit that budget
Okay,
request.
good, thanks.
All right, thank you everyone for your time.
We're done.
I'll send that to you, okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
What?
I don't know, am I?
Treasurer.
Good.
Preference.
Right along, brother.
Okay, start at the top. My salary represents a 2% increase from the prior year. Treasurer's deputies, represents an 70% increase for those individuals. Also, obviously in treasurer's deputies, I requested to have Jerry put back in. You don't know unless you ask. So, I mean, that's why you see the increase is because that's his salary that I'm currently paying out of my automation account. And that included back into that point for that increase. First judicial circuit, in essence, I've discussed this with you multiple times. In essence, we supply what would be the equivalent of one employee to the first circuit probation. When you look at Marla doing the payroll, Michelle doing all of their claims, Jerry doing all the balancing, and Rachel doing all the reports. So in essence, $14 an hour employee comes down to $25,500. So I was asking for that to be passed over. Also, whenever you guys go into your revenues, if you look at an employee plus the match plus the insurance of just a single employee, it's about $42,000 or $43,000. So someone needs to renegotiate with the probation department and talk to Jeff Watkins about increasing that $20,000 that has been paid since 2008. It's never been increased or anything else.
Didn't we talk about that last year?
Yeah, I brought it up last year and earlier this year.
Nothing happened? You didn't get it?
Well, I mean, I can't negotiate that. It's supposed to be signed between the commissioner, the chair, and the head of probation. And there was an audit that was done that I think there's supposed to be an agreement each year outlining that stuff, but I don't think there's been an agreement since like 2012 that's been signed by anybody. It's just operating as is. But that amount is a pass through, coming from that. Again, I think right now they pay us 20. You keep 10 and I get 10, which I don't know why that was determined that way, but I think it should be at 42 at a minimum for them to pay. If you want to figure out other costs that we do for computer maintenance, forms, check stock, everything else, you probably should bump it up to 45 grand. Is what I'm thinking, for them to pay. So the county would keep 20 for 19.5 and I get 25. Treasurer's office stipends, again, I'm paying that out of automation. I just asked for you to reinstate that, which after the comments yesterday, that's not going to happen. Again, you don't know unless you ask. Treasurer's office, leave it at 2,500. Treasurer's travel, I asked to leave that at 3,000. I will be the vice chair or the vice president of our treasurer's organization here in November. So I'm still moving up along the executive board of our state association for that. So I'll be going to at least probably 3 conferences for that. Treasurer's computer, the reason why I'm asking for the increase, I want to change the bills. I want to change the format of the tax bills. I want to make them where instead of them being a trifold, I want them to be on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with a single fold. So I've depleted most of my bill stock now, but I'm gonna have to order probably 2 years worth of bills, or at least a year and a half worth, which is gonna be I mean, 100,000 bills. Paper's not cheap now, so.
Well, they're gonna be like glue or you staple.
No, they're gonna be the heat press, they'll be the glue press, but it'll be easier to print, because right now that's on an 8.5 by 14 legal size, and it's just a little bit long, and getting it into a printer and having it feed, a lot of times it'll pull multiple ones because they're stuck together. If I can get it down to an 8.5 by 11, then I can move the trays easier, and it should be able to reduce the.
The shop will be quicker.
It'll be faster.
Instead of 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it'll be, boom, 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 fold, print them out, boom, and it'll be less wear and tear on my folding machine and everything else, but I'm gonna have, like, we're gonna work on Mark's starting a mock-up of redesign. I've talked to Halo to talk about how I want the stuff laid out and how, and to make sure that I've got the heat press stuff, because I still see the benefit in that, not having to put them in envelopes, for that stuff. But I'm thinking it's gonna cost me probably, anywhere from probably 13 to 15,000. I think the bid I got at one time for 100,000 was about 11 or 12 cents, so I'm talking, so 12, 13 grand.
Now, I'm pretty good when I open it, the first 2 folds, just the bottom fold.
Yeah.
Make it
yeah,
on
I
a
know,
gag.
I know, that's why, like I said, there's no reason to have it in that extended. If I could just do that there.
So the increase reflects, you're wanting to go to a different type of card stock.
No, it represents a different type of fold and a different format of the bill. It's an 8.5 by 14 trifold.
Okay.
I want to go to an 8.5 by 11 single fold. But that's a whole new, format and everything else. So I
So
depleted.
basically a new.
Yeah. So then you'll just open it up, you have the tickets to be able to tear off on the bottom, top half is
Still perforated.
Yeah. Still perforated, everything else, default.
They're kind of tricky to get in.
Yeah, and it'll match what we send out to any, like multiple property owners. We do those on like blank T paper that's 8.5 by 11 that we personally stuff ourselves so we can, reduce costs. But the other ones that are the single or basically 2 or 3 property owners, we just do the heat press ones stuff to be able to do that. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I've worked, we're whittling it down where I've got basically just enough probably delinquent notice paper to be able to get through this cycle. That's it. I've got maybe 5,000 or 6,000 bills, which compared to the 80,000 that usually sitting there is, we really whittled it down. Why?
Did you have it on FIFO system?
Not that I've ever, my understanding is that these bills have been this way for decades.
All right, so
Yeah,
that makes
long
sense.
time.
One time they would tear off the side.
Well, these, you'll still have to tear off the sides and the bottom, but it's just, it'll be a single fold. What happens is we have people, they tear off the wrong parts, and then you got like half of it, we have to reprint the bill. This time, when you tear it off, you should just be able to just open it up in one single, because if you don't tear off the bottom or one of the sides, it sticks together, and then you pull it apart, and it rips it in half. We had an older gentleman that came in to this or a couple of weeks ago that had ripped his bills apart and then taped the top half to the wrong bottom and everything because he couldn't get it open. So that's not very often happenstance, but it's still one of those things that I think it would be easier on older citizens to just have a single open phone. So that's the reason for that increase. Telephone staying the same, bond should stay the same. Deputy salary represents the 70% increase for those employees that are under that line. Postage, I'm leaving at 15,000. I don't know if that's going to be the case. We do have another increase in postage next year, but I do try to. Our state association is still trying to allow us to not have to send certified delinquent notices. We fight that every year in law court, and it's never gone through. But that would save, the county an immense amount of money. We just have to send them out in first class mail like we do, the bills themselves.
Yeah.
Real estate collection, I'm asking for an increase in that because of, the increase in wages and for overtime. You can't get anybody to even work temporary or part-time for less than $14 an hour, right now. So that's why I was asking for that increase. Software maintenance, I mean, we don't have that program, so I didn't put that in there. It just, that's included in the admin line for the commissioners now. We got $8,000 put in there. That's, tax collector office staying at 2,500. And then, publication is still keeping it at 3,000, assuming they don't, raise that, or I don't have the gigantic delinquent list. Questions?
I agree with changing the bill, but they're, you rip them wrong way, it's fall apart.
I had that planned whenever I started, but I obviously didn't want to just throw away, 50,000 bills. I mean, that's just literally throwing my money. So do something like that. Well, just Jerry. I'm paying for Jerry. So Jerry's total amount has been included in this request. And then I pay for my two treasurer stipends out of my automation as well, which if you don't ask, you don't get. So.
Great.
Back in several of you. I got to purchase, part of it. I need to do that and get through it. Thanks.
Yep. Any questions from yesterday or my budget?
You just decide that, buddy.
Tim, you asked about new property.
Yes, I did.
Actual calculated last year was 2.3%, not 2.5. I'd expect it to go up a little bit, being a quad year. I would think it's gonna be 2.6, 2.7 is probably a realistic number.
Did you hear that, Kim? 2.6, 2.7?
Also looking at the spreadsheet you sent me, TIF one's increase is actually 3.99% increase, not 5%. Just so. TIF one, the TIF one rolling off the books is actually 3.99%. Not 5%.
Not 5%?
Where do we get 5%?
I think that was, maybe an educated guess. The property's gonna be 2.7, 2.6.
That would be my estimate. I'd say that's probably a safe estimate, 2.6, 2.7.
You look at the BLR.
I'd say it's hard to tell with all the exemptions, because, I mean, COEs roll into that. But thinking with Menards would probably get settled this year, and I'd say that we're probably safe with that figure.
4%.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably about right with exemptions coming off and, that's a little bit of value there.
Office holders on their salary were at 2%.
Okay, I did 3% on
So that takes it to
That's
91, 530.
Not just you.
Yes, I understand.
No, it's just in.
I just had to throw a number out there.
Hey, so we'll go back.
Don't throw it too hard.
Say 530.
Okay, that's, what is it?
91.
530.
My employee salaries, I went 55 cents an hour. Obviously, it's a negotiation here, so I also worked out a spreadsheet, 55 or 70.
Okay.
Either way there. Or the other stuff in the budget, the big change, we're not gonna publish before December 1st, so we're gonna carry that 50,000 over from last year to this year. I think that's probably the way it'll be going forward.
You're not gonna do this.
I'm not gonna be able to publish my quad in 22, so I'm gonna
Okay.
carry that money that was budgeted last year. Everything else, we changed the CIAO money, we calculated. It's 7 people that actually have the CIAO, and 2 people working towards it. Coming up with the 10,500, 10,800, sorry. CIAO certification.
So that is actually going to be done.
That's something we agreed to.
That was-
We're trying to get education.
Trying to get.
And we will pay for education. Smarter man gets, smarter everybody.
It's a heck of an incentive to have somebody at the counter.
It's
It
quite-
is, it is.
Everything else, I mean, remains unchanged.
Right, so right now, everything else, contractual is still based at 55 cents.
Yeah,
You got that, we got this right. Okay.
I'll give you a copy of the spreadsheet that's got the 70 cent if that's what they get you up in negotiations too. And so, okay, any questions? Trying to get you back on schedule.
You just did it, man.
Next victim.
Is it-
Thanks.
Your turn. I want to make sure. My technology is-
Good morning.
Tracy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Oh, I did prepare an amended budget. And that would be like to go off.
Yeah, but in. Hey, this lady, we have copies.
Yes.
Yeah,
we'll probably
send
one to him.
What?
I think,
Is this the one that you sent me?
no, I just did it today. I just updated it today.
Okay, yep. I'll need it.
Oh, sorry, you should have.
Get that. so-
Yes.
Email.
Oh,
Same.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Good morning.
we will just listen to you.
Okay, well, excellent.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, going over page 1, I put in a request for capital improvement expenditures on the 29th of August. I basically just copied that number over onto here for the computer equipment. So that is 13,693. If you want a direct quotation on that, I can give that to you as well, but it was listed on the memo.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't remember when it was, but some years back, we bought some newer computers, not all. So is this for all or to pick up the other some?
This is just some, these computers are just for the attorneys, for them to have laptops, so that they can take laptops into court and get on the internet. And so they can answer questions better. I also have included, a recordable device to copy Blu-ray DVDs, because we're still having to use those. The cloud is just not secure enough, big enough. It's just not enough. So, we're looking at, a Blu-ray recorder. I put in for 2 of those, one for the second floor, one for the first floor. We do use those quite a bit, especially for traffic. And at this point, we have body cams, car dash cams, we have the arrest inside the police department, inside, we get a lot of video. So, in order to compile it and put it on for each individual defendant, we need to have one location that can be specific to that can be used for them. So we're looking at, we have been using one. The one that we've been using is down. It's down, down, down. I also put in for, Blu-ray players, readable writables, so that they can be mobile. Right now, we have one in the entire office, which is having a hard time communicating with each of the individual law enforcement software programs. So we're trying to get that routed to where we're using something consistent across the board, but have that storage available for each individual case. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I just remember we bought some, and
Yes.
I just didn't know partial.
The last ones were in 2020, March of 2020, and the ones before that were 2018.
Pretty good memory, huh?
You're on it.
All right.
I did update transcripts just because they're getting more expensive, and transcripts are how you learn. So we do have 2 new attorneys, so I did up that by another $500. If you don't need it, obviously you can have it back.
And what are they used for?
They're used for teaching purposes, actually, as well as appeals. But for preliminary hearings and things of that nature, when we go to trial, it's used to impeach witnesses and get consistent stories out of it.
That's all.
And we do have, like I said, we have 2 new attorneys. My very first hearing, my very first trial I did was transcribed so that I could learn from what happened. You learn in the moment, but you also learn by going back and going, oh, I should have said this, or I should have objected here. To me, that's just a very good learning tool. So that was my thought. It helped me. So I'm making an assumption it helps other people. I did include the proposed new attorney as Brett, since we're using him right now for the civil stuff. I've corrected Sammy Fishback's name. Do we need to talk about anything else? I'm sorry.
All these salaries are all contractual.
Yes. And we will be losing Lisa Urban end of the week, but I'd like to talk with you about that in a second before we cross out hers.
Now's the time. Oh, hold on.
So the computer equipment would be a capital improvement expense, not really in your.
Unless they said no, in which case then I would need it in my budget. I will take the money either way.
No, I understand, but I mean,
It would be.
I mean, those are fixed assets, well over
Right.
$100 for, longer than a 12-month period, so those would be fall into that.
So that would fall under
Capital.
capital.
The other, if I'm not mistaken, that's not Rhett's proposed contract unless you're renegotiating the contract with him for this upcoming year. That's not what we're paying on a monthly basis.
No, that's not what we're paying him on a monthly basis, but he is saving us from having to hire another attorney at this moment.
No, I don't think there's been a discussion on
No.
the potential question. No, unless they have.
No. but that's where I'm allocating that money in my, I have big picture stuff. You know what accounts they go through, but I have big. Okay. We go through page 2?
Yeah.
Okay. This last year, we did have 2 law clerks, which were not listed in anything, and I know they got paid. So I added them in. My understanding from the paperwork I found was $18 an hour, times 20 hours a week. So I basically put that in there, because law clerks help and eventually they become good attorneys to work in our office. And here's where Lisa Urban's salary comes into play. Her $111,000 that is budgeted for this next year, my intention and inclination is to hire an attorney and use the rest of that budget for the 2 law clerks. So I'm looking at potential, hopefully, you find an experienced attorney, $73,000 on that new attorney, and then the $37,000 or $38,000 on law clerks both come out of Lisa's already budgeted salary.
2 things on that. One, so under contractual, you know, we have a set amount for the attorney.
Yes,
You try to bring one in a lot more than that, you're going to have total pay loss.
I talked with Sean, who is the steward, and he said we don't have to bring them in. And
They will come in over some that are.
Yes.
12.
yes,
They don't have to come in at the minimum of what we budget. It's what we budget for. Is we go by the contract. Anything above and beyond that come from your budget somehow, somewhere.
well then let's not talk about Lisa Urban's.
Well, what I would tell Sean is contract works both ways. It's not one way. Okay. We have to budget something, so we budget the minimum. Then my second question is how many actual attorneys you have right now over there?
With Lisa
Keep counting her.
and counting me,
Well, no, this is ASAs.
Got 9 including red.
8 plus rent.
8 plus rent.
But actually, red is coming currently. Yeah, that's right. She-
Well, okay,
they're paying.
What I'm getting at is personally, I would much have a Brett over here because the way he's doing, gets things done, we all know him. But hiring another attorney to give you 9, plus Brett, that would give you 10.
She gonna lose
No,
Lisa. or-
I'm losing Lisa.
So Red, well, not, okay, so Red's not like, that's a separate deal.
Yeah, that's the
Okay,
contract
okay,
outside.
I got you.
I just thought I had to work within the budget.
Okay, no, I got you.
I was trying to work within the budget.
So you could theoretically hire a new one,
Yes,
rest of the money, so not maybe towards Red, and still want to have a little bit of money left over for what you want for the other folks, right?
well,
You're real close.
with the proposed new attorney, that was already on the budget. That was in
Okay.
Brandon's budget.
Okay,
So I just put Brett's name by it, just so that
Okay.
we didn't lose that money and we could afford to pay Brett.
okay, and
So-
then the law clerk, how much?
The law clerk is about 19,000 a year.
The one thing you could possibly get a new attorney, you could keep Red, and possibly the law clerk could be real close to that total amount of the clerk, right?
2 law clerks plus a new attorney would be at
Right.
Lisa Urban's salary. Wow, I feel like somebody's talking behind my back.
He doesn't raise his hand.
Well, I need to clarify.
Okay.
So,
Why don't you come on, Lee?
well, I don't,
No, that's fine.
He's on his own island.
He's close enough.
He's on his own island.
yes, yes. If I'm not mistaken, I think Brandon had requested an attorney last year and you
Yeah, we
chose
voted,
not to give it to him.
Right.
Where you put it in
we
contingency.
put it in
One
contingency.
of the other. And to clarify the law clerks, the 2 individuals,
Siobhan and Addison.
John and Addison, were hired in as law clerks operating as 7-Eleven, and then whenever they took and then passed the bar, they were elevated from law clerk into
Yes.
attorney position. So that's why that law clerk, because Brandon had requested he wanted to pay them above what a minimum wage employee or an administrative employee was, because they were doing that. That's where he came up, I think, with that $18 to $20 an hour to pay them in the time period. So they weren't technically like law clerks that were hired specifically for that. That was their interim titles until they were elevated to assistants.
Then what's the best one?
Well, and when we get a law clerk, we like to train them, we like to use them.
Yeah.
So, they come in much more prepared than just a regular attorney off the street. So, but I didn't know where he got the number, I just saw that
Yeah,
number.
I was just giving you that, I don't know what it was. I mean, I'm not disputing anything, I'm just here to provide information.
I love that,
That's it.
thank you very much.
That's all.
Now I'm going to, I'm not an attorney, as you know, and I do not play. But I'm smart enough to know that for part, I can't get it out of my head, I guess, the tightwad in me is coming out here because under Granati, there was like 6 or 7 attorneys doing a lot more cases. And then, to me, they just, under the last state attorney, just kept getting more and more attorneys. And I just can't wrap my head around how they could be doing all of this under Chuck. Well, Chuck's in the courtroom, one, he's prosecuting. That's one big difference. But to keep going, 8, 9, so you know, 10, you had the PD down there with 2, 3, 4, doing 90-something% of the cases. So explain to me, so I wrap this around my head, and I'm sure you got the explanation of why they just want to keep adding more and more and more. Are we saying the cases are a lot more now? Because I don't think that's going to show on the paperwork that it is.
I think what we're getting at is the workload.
The workload was, there were more citations I've written back under.
I don't know if
Okay,
that's
I
true.
know you don't.
I have no idea.
I know you don't, but I think, Kim may verify this, but I think more citations under, there's like 26,000 citations written, mostly as an average under Chuck's versus
Okay.
like maybe 1,600 now. And I just keep saying this need more attorneys, and when you bring in more attorneys, you had to bring in more fringe benefits.
Well,
And I like the part about the red deal, because there's no fringe benefits.
And there's no first minute.
So my question is could a person be better off to use part-time?
well, by replacing Lisa, we're not getting another attorney. We're just replacing her workload. She was the one doing murder.
Oh, she's good, very good, yeah.
So we're just
Yeah.
replacing her. So we're not asking.
A new body?
Yeah.
Okay,
The red thing, again, it says proposed new attorney. I just kind of floated Brett's name over there so that we didn't have to hire somebody in the office.
no, that's good.
So,
That's great.
so I'm not looking to hire
So
an
what about
additional
the-
position.
What about the 2 law clerks? Will they pass their bar and become suit? Because it's my understanding, as soon as they pass the bar, they would be assistants.
The, two things on that. Number one, the 2 attorneys that we have right now have sat for the bar in July and are waiting for results. They are being paid as attorneys. And that was an agreement that Brandon had. Nothing to do with me. That was,
Sure.
I mean, and I'm very happy they're here. But that was something that happened pre-Marcy.
Right.
The law clerks, right now, they would be 3 Ls at the most, which means they're in their final year of law school. And we're not promising anybody a job. So,
That was what I had understood when he said.
That might have been what he said, but they're never gonna guarantee you that they're gonna be a job like the county for.
No,
Well,
It's a learning.
right, still, you're comparing apples, so
yeah,
Siobhan and Addison were identified as 2 potential candidates for employment.
right.
That Brandon hired, they had their 7-Eleven license to be able to operate a courtroom, to be able to carry caseload and everything else. His intent was always, because he had 2 open positions at the time,
Right.
So they were going to, as soon as they sat at the bar, he elevated them for whatever. I mean, that was with him. All we did was got the notification that they were elevated from the law clerk amount to ASA amount.
Which is, that's where they're at now.
Yeah, I mean, Marcy's identifying these positions as additional positions for individuals that are not going to be candidates for employment unless there's an opening.
Right, right.
These are just people that would help either do research or if they had their 7-Eleven license,
Right.
appear in the courtroom to allow an actual licensed attorney to do something. So those are, you're talking two separate scenarios.
Yeah, that's dead on. And the good part is you walk into good state's attorneys, assistant state's ASA.
Yes.
And because I've watched Lisa do many murder trials. She's really good. And
Fantastic.
she's leading. But you've got a lot of veterans there. I'm just trying to make sure I'm doing the body count in my head. So we know budget wise is all I'm getting at. So you're just saying another body for Lisa.
A replacement body.
Right, correct.
Yes.
All right.
And like with the law clerks, again, there's no responsibility on our part to hire them. But in looking at the tenure of our people, I can't say that's not going to be something that happens down the road. There is.
Some retire out.
I do not want anybody else to retire. But I don't want anybody else to retire, but, many of these people carry a huge caseload. And they do a very, very good job. So, and those people will be very hard to replace. But the law clerk also gets us in, helps us build rapport with SIU law, helps us stay in the forefront of their mind so that potentially we could have a law clerk come over that doesn't get paid and just does credit. I don't know if that's possible. We are a lot further away than Jackson County, so pay is probably going to be required for them to truck over here. But again, this is only 20 hours.
Yeah, I know you haven't had a long time. I'm saying last year, to me, I think there's confusion of who's who and how many people you got and all this kind of stuff. So that's why I want to clarify.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
We've got eight ASA plus, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I know. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Currently,
That's
Yeah,
it.
that includes.
Well, she will be replaced,
She's
so
going
that's
to
that'd
be
be eight.
replaced.
Okay. The last year, okay,
Yeah.
kind of cluster, who's, okay. All right.
So that was my idea for basically distributing Lisa's salary amongst an attorney to replace her as well as two law clerks. I have in my amended budget, I have put in 2 proposed legal secretaries. My understanding, and I'm gonna say it in a really nice way. There are grants out there that are available for us that we do not have the time to look into. So one of the legal secretaries I would want would be for grants and forfeitures. That would be an influx of money into not just our office, but and now the grants would help alleviate taking money from you guys, so let me keep like that one. And then the second proposed legal secretary would be for a file. Understandably, we still use paper files. That's not been upgraded so far. We also have 1 or 2 of our ASAs that do not have a secretary to do filings for that. And then the pretrial services stuff, I need to throw that on as well. I know there's other stuff coming down the road, but with pretrial services, we are going to have an upfront chunk that we don't have on our team. It's going to have to come from our office.
So, I know from years over there, I know that everything's paper, and our state attorney's offices, do they like upload the computer now, or to scan them or not? Or a lot of state attorney's offices, they do that or not?
We do not.
But it's so sensitive.
They still go to the clerk's office. My understanding is they do all the. I don't want to say it's a control issue because I have no idea. But there is e-filing, but it's more for the appellates.
They do a lot of shredding over there, they try to come in and shred
Yes.
paperwork, but it's old.
Well, we keep stuff, I believe, for 4 years. So we are storing stuff and yes, we do have, very excited about the shred machine.
Oh,
Come on over. Come on over.
The legal secretaries, do we have a minimum on that contract?
25,570.
Is that
That's
what-
what the union contract says.
Is that what the last agreement on that?
Well, for last year it was 24,570. Bumped up to 25.
Okay, you talking about the, I'm talking about bottoms.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, I don't know.
So Andrew Wade, Carla Wilbur, and Cindy Webb, they're all legal secretaries.
Yes.
You're proposing for 2.
Yes. And here's the thing. Legal secretary seems to encompass every clerical position we have in our office. And I'm gonna tell you next time. I'm not gonna dispute that they do stuff legally and they're secretaries. But I know like Andrea Wade, she does all of our accounts payable, our invoicing and our inventory. You know, so they have other duties like Christy Gribble, she's doing all the reports and all the human resource stuff. Mendy is doing minimuses. I mean, we have stuff that is farmed out. And I'll just say that's something.
Let me go through this count
Okay.
on the attorneys.
Mhm.
We have Lisa Earp,
Uh-huh.
John Curry,
Yes.
John DeMello,
Mhm.
Jerry Adams,
Yep.
Andy Combs, Bates. Okay, so Addison Hall is counted as one of those attorneys.
Yes.
And so
As is
is
Siobhan.
Okay, and Post is red. And so that would
8 plus 1. All right, 8 plus a half.
So, yeah, 9 assistants. All right, just want to make sure we had that.
Okay.
All right. So, Tim, on your question. I don't recall.
Yeah.
It seems like there might have been more. It seems like there may be more than,
My
One time.
understanding is that we lost either 1 or 2.
that's what I'm thinking.
This due to COVID. So.
No, I understand, and that's what I'm thinking. You did a good job of walking in the door to do the budget together. That's what I'm thinking. We need to look and see.
But I do think having somebody to look in, because my understanding is you guys had a grants position over here that handled all the grants.
But we source it out now too.
We still have grant writers, it's just that we contract, well, actually, we pay Greater Egypt. And they
Crawford.
Well, I think in our office, somebody in our office administers through the correct.
Now,
Yeah, they do
Because
have
it got moved over. to-
Christie.
yeah, Christie, and
Christie.
it's quite a large amount of her time. And so that's why I would look at another position, because she can't look for grants. I mean, she barely has time to fill out the paperwork.
So my suggestion is that we contract or call Greater Egypt to see, let them work.
Okay?
They have been very
That's who
good.
we use right now.
They've been very good about
We
getting hold of us on
pay
grants.
Greater Egypt a certain fee every year. I forgot, Kim, what did we pay Greater Egypt? Was it?
Are you talking about their fee?
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, off the top of, are you guys?
On the grant part only. Well,
Yeah.
Well, we pay them every year.
We pay them,
no.
we pay them their membership fee.
I was
or
gonna say,
something.
yeah.
And then of course, they have,
It's about 16,589.
See, and they're good about it. And then you always have Crawford's that helps us, the girl there helps us with branch two, Crawford Engineering. But I still believe that we want to give this a chance, okay?
Mhm.
We're ready, but I still think that, I think
Well,
we have an in-house person.
Well, right now, I think we're waiting on we're in the classes.
We're in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
process of getting this
It's,
lined out.
This
there's
is
only,
the
there's
one
only
time-
like 3 people in this county, like grants like that.
Yeah,
But we're in the process of,
But we are
Refilling
in
this
the
position.
process of building this position
Okay.
back.
Well, that's,
so temporarily, Greater Egypt would be who you need to contact, Harry Menace.
So we see the need, recognize the need, it's just getting our ducks in.
okay, well, that was, and I'm not trying to throw this under the bus, but she's doing all the police reports and she's getting calls on
Yeah,
budget stuff.
she
and-
talked to me about that. And you know, Celeste always did that for him. And so, yeah, we all have said, you know, last year when Celeste left, it's kind of a,
Yeah,
kind of quick deal. We weren't sure where we'd go, so we thought we'd let them pick this up for this year at Greater Egypt.
okay,
But we all have said that we need something inside.
thank you, thank you, that's wonderful. Okay, sorry, no, that's great, because there's money out there to be had. I mean, I think we learned it with the ARPA funds, you know, you can find the money, and, that position would actually generate money for the office. So really, it looks like, by my math, I'm asking for another less than $65,000.
Over last year's budget.
Yes, and that includes the computer equipment and the two.
That's your Blu-ray and transcripts.
And that computer equipment.
Yeah, the computer, the laptops.
It should be capital.
So-
You carry Menace's
Oh.
Greater Egypt phone.
Thank you so much.
And that's your proposed LS to 2 LS, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And thank you for being flexible.
Well-
I know I haven't turned in like,
Here's,
Very
here's,
Hold on, we
his armpit's gonna start sweating here, man. Go ahead.
have a question.
question from the peanut gallery.
Well,
Oh, I didn't give you one.
no, I got it.
Sorry.
So, law licenses are $935.32 a month, which is $11,300. We upped that last year to $12,000, because I think that was submitted at $10,000 for 3 solid years, and that's the same one that you were
Yeah,
given
that
every
has
year
to
with
be,
the song and dance of the lost,
Which one are you on?
line item 50673, the lost invoices.
50.
First,
Oh,
basically, 10,100.
That needs to be.
That needs to be 12,000, it's 12,000 last year.
Yeah.
It's 12,000, I mean, for this year, and we base off of that, there should be enough in there to cover the rest.
Okay, thank you. I did not know that, so
Yeah.
that's great.
And then, I mean, this is public record, obviously. I mean, rest being paid $6,667 per month, which equates to $80,000 a year, so that $53,000 that's listed there.
We'll go back.
I don't know what
Wait,
that is.
yeah, I think
We'll
that
go back
will-
over all this.
Okay,
That's
okay,
what we
okay.
want.
Yeah, here we go to that.
So,
Correct. The thing about this, your office, is you don't have these funds to go to, like, for, stuff.
That's why I'm coming to you.
Well, we are the only source you have.
Yes.
And it's like the sheriff's department, you know,
Yeah.
but, we recognize that. It's just the needs versus the wants we have to lay out. As long as you explain the needs, and we're definitely gonna listen to it.
I
I
appreciate
think, you have to explain. The bottom part of the LS, look at, we need to look at like, how many in the past, different contractual.
Oh, for the
stuff
legal
like that.
secretaries.
Yeah.
We just need to check.
It's a contract.
And anything else for me?
I think we're done.
Can you loan us about $1 million?
You give me $1 million, I'll loan you $1 million.
You brought it back to us.
I have no problem charging you interest. Your money.
All right, thank you, Martin.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Anyway,
We're only 25 minutes.
Let's take a.
Boy, thank goodness. I'm all floating.
Hey, Kim, did you get your book, from Janice that we sent you on
Yes,
taxes?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure you got it, because I stuck it in the mail, but I wasn't for sure.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank Julie.
A little.
Oh.
Thank you so much. Sheets that we have them, Jim. Yeah, let's get this down. Yeah, we can see what each line. Remember we have this budget package.
Yeah. Kim, do you know?
I really love to have that breakdown of each one of these.
What do you need, Jim?
What was it, the compiled list of our budget last year
We had, yeah,
that showed all the line
laid out
items?
like this for each department, each line item.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the spreadsheet,
Spreadsheet,
right?
yes.
Okay. So that's what I'm working on piecing together now with we did part of the revenues yesterday.
Yeah,
And then, so I emailed you the breakdown of the fees today, sort of a similar spreadsheet. So if
yeah,
we get a minute, if you can do the fees, okay, that's part of building that. And then also, since office holders are submitting amended budgets, I'm updating that information as it's kind of coming in. And that way, it's
perfect.
all the income and expenses are there. And then I send that to you and it shows you, okay, you're $1 million apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I
Yeah.
didn't see-
Yes, so that's coming once we get the fees built into the general fund, once you tell me what those numbers are.
I see 4 million this year.
Okay,
that's why a couple of these, I was like, I called them, like, might as well just fix them now, because.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Well, the 12,000, I had made a note on mine to go back to.
Yeah. Well, you gotta, yeah, I mean, we did. Yeah, manager of time, we could stand and everything else.
You go.
I sat here and decided to work in here. It was hot. First thing, now.
I got that webinar.
Oh, man.
He did. You talked to him?
Yeah, what are you thinking about in this meeting?
It needs to be. Well, he and I didn't talk about me. We were talking about stuff. Totally
He's
different.
needing a resolution passed as soon as possible. We've got to have it by next Wednesday.
Monday. I can do Thursday or Friday this week.
Friday would give you enough time to.
Friday we can do it. Monday's the only day off. I may be here next week. I'm going to Peoria Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
It's probably still warm.
What's his resolution for?
Oh, yeah, it's for it's like a resolution of support,
Of what?
a resolution of support.
Oh. Who was supporting that?
I'll have it look, you want me to print it out?
No, that's okay.
It's, I've got it in my email,
Oh, you do?
yeah. Did he talk to you?
Who?
No.
Yeah.
And we still haven't heard anything about the grant writing stuff.
They've still not put out any kind of training. At all. Well, they did put something out and then they canceled it.
Yeah.
They've not put out anything since then.
Springfield is so dysfunctional.
Apparently they're having some problems with their building over there. They've had to find a new location.
Really?
So it may have been put on the back burner.
I'll have to say, I like these.
I do like these.
The paper,
Well, the others have been used.
Well, I get mad
They were
when they-
getting, they were getting worn out.
They're being used the way they should be used, because they're folding backwards on
I
certain.
mean, when you throw the
It shows
book
you guys were working on it.
across the room a few times,
But
What are you saying? Why don't we post your budget in our hands? What exactly were you meaning by
It's
that?
saying.
I'll let you know.
It's
it's time to change that.
I thought it was 10.
What was
Oh,
that?
that was right, they were getting books.
I would find it.
hey, Tim,
Oh, come on.
Tim, I remember you saying.
I would have just step.
I remember Stephanie saying you guys need new stuff.
Yeah.
I said, when you throw the books across the room
Yeah.
so many times, out of frustration, paper's so apart.
Fall apart, yeah, time to rebuild.
I'll toss them a few times.
These are pretty good. I just wondered how much. Everybody got to go up.
They're full. How much weight they can handle.
Yeah, how much you gonna be able to take? I like these. They're really good.
Yeah.
Steph, you want to give us a little credit where you got these at, and want to brag a little bit how you came up with this
Okay,
idea?
thank you. What?
You want to take the floor and tell us how you came up with this idea and how you want to brag about how you like it?
She's a
Did
genius.
did you do it with your glasses on or without?
Actually, it was Jim's idea.
I know it's Tim's.
Well, Tim, I mean, they both had.
Oh, now look at it.
Uh,
Now look at
no.
Backpedaling.
it. Yeah. Okay, Stephanie.
Just accept this
Stephanie,
award.
Okay.
I'd like to thank all the little people.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, So,
We're back.
Amanda, what do you got?
That's all.
well, we've got our, it's not all. We've got our budget there, under the county clerk's salary, that's a 2%. Employees, we did the 70 cents. And I had added in the 3 employees, the recording and 1 in vitals. That you guys decided yesterday that those need to come out, so that's gonna be reduced. You want me to name those employees, Ken, so you know which ones? For your records, it'd be Teresa. Gina, Lou, and Brittany. Or
Teresa, Gina, and who?
Brittany,
Brittany, okay.
and then I believe was our stipends being taken out of our. Jessica's. Okay, so the 2 stipends, the county clerk stipend and the county recorder stipend were also being taken out of
That's Teresa, Jessica, Pam.
No, that's just Teresa and Jessica.
Stephanie, where does yours come from?
The chief tax extension is different, we can't take it out.
I want to make sure you were accounted for.
Yeah, hers comes out of your guys' budget. Okay,
And then the same thing for Janice.
right, she's in a different department. Hers wouldn't come out. It comes from general fund. Yeah. The only two that would come out is Teresa and Jessica Holmes for the stipend also. That, you said yesterday that that's gonna go back into our line item.
Yeah.
Under records and stationery, we cut that back to 17,000 for next year. And then, computer supplies, we've got 2,000 in there. PM's computer is gonna have to be replaced. It's one of the only ones we've not replaced. She has worn it out.
That's why the first one's in the building, probably in the county.
Got travel and conference in there. The assessor's books, those are books we buy for the assessor's office. We have to buy those, and the treasurer's office for the tax, we have to buy those books. Our office holder and employee, those are the bonds. 3,000. Tax software,
Was that something 6 months? Was that something that all three of you have, that tax software?
Yes.
This is all one, like one big, that's your.
that's a third of it, yes.
Okay.
And then under elections, we have the election judges. We have one election next year, so that's why that's gone down to 65,000. Polling, it is the municipal. We have polling place and rent for 3,000. Registration of voters, just left that at 4,000 for our supplies to register and vote. Postage, that has gone up. So a new law was passed this last year. We just did it, and it's about, I think it's typed down at the bottom of your sheet, the notice of vote by mail ballot that we have to send out before each general election. I'm still unsure if they're assuming that one next year is a consolidated general election, so I'm still unsure if we have to send it out before that election.
We should
Hopefully
wait
not.
on it though.
Right, so that's why we've upped that postage, plus we have the cards we have to mail out next year.
Right.
The vote by mail cards again, registration cards, I mean. So
Elections never stop. do they?
they don't. Postage machine please, this is the postal machine that we have just in our department for elections downstairs. Election publications, we've got that at 7,000, again, it's just for one election, so we're gonna cut that in half. And then election maintenance is still 84,000. Doesn't matter if there was an election, you still have to do it. And then the ballots and supplies, we've cut that back to 60,000. And you guys are still thinking about keeping that in mind about our election equipment, right?
Well, that's what
The
I
guy
was
was here just last week working on it, and he was asking me, because, he's just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Well, I was just gonna ask you, I don't see anything on here for this, but I know it's in our mind. I don't believe, I'm not an authority on it, but I don't believe it's going to fall to ARPA. But how much was that?
Do you remember how much that was?
70 or 80?
I thought it was 80, 84.
The new equipment.
No,
Oh, 600,000.
It was like 540,000 or something.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for all those machines, they were.
And the way you can do that is, what was it that we looked at?
I think what most counties were using was the standard allowable deduction or allowance, which was the 11, maybe you can go up to $11 million just to write it over.
And, right, so at any time, we can take that, whatever's left over, and just basically say it was income replacement, without proof of income replacement. So you're right, I don't think.
Is it a new way to keep people away from COVID?
Yes.
If you can
We're
sit
trying
in a
to
chair,
keep people,
yeah, you can sit in a chair and say that you had it because of COVID.
Actually, a final ruling is saying about new machines for.
Well, I mean, we talked about if they're either self-contained or they're wireless, that would minimize contact between individuals, which, I mean, depends on how we should get interpretation, but I mean, I think the machine she was looking at, I mean, has that capability.
And at the end, we still do have the
It's
opportunity
expensive.
to call.
Well, last time we
I still
bought it,
think
it
we
was
do.
$2 grand.
I don't know.
We had
Because they
enough
said you could
One
take.
of, that was one of the
10
reasons
million.
why I think we're waiting.
It's,
That's why I've been waiting, but
Right.
it's not coming through. There is nothing out there that, of course, that's what I've been waiting for. I haven't asked you guys, I mean, this is something that's been on the horizon for a while. These machines are, I think 2004 is when we,
Yeah, no, Bob, for a grant opportunity to come through. I mean, normally,
there's not.
okay,
That's what I've been waiting on.
and you know for a fact that one won't be.
I don't know anything for a fact. It depends on whose
Okay.
election it is and who gets mad enough to say, no, we need all the new equipment in every
Yeah.
county. That's
Well, let me ask
not
you.
happened so far.
The equipment that you have, is it good enough for the upcoming municipal election?
I hope so, but if it goes out, they all go out like that. So, this last election, we had a little episode and all the clock chip batteries went out. So that was a little stressful trying to find them first of all and get them replaced in time. But
They
I
don't
know
make
that
them anymore.
they don't make them anymore.
So it's whatever somebody had in stock supply that we could get, and that was part of the issue, and the guy didn't think he was gonna be able to get them to even fix the machines.
He got us enough just to get through that election. He's come back and he's looked at all of our machines, finished repairing, he found some more batteries. But, it's just a Band-Aid, that's what I'm saying.
How long before the election did you have to have it?
It's a process you start, I mean, I wouldn't do, if we got anything right now, it'd probably be the municipal that we would try to implement, we wouldn't in this one.
Yeah.
Training.
I mean, it's probably in April, correct?
That one's in April, right? If we did something after that election, then, the primary would probably be, you'd want it 3 or 4 months. You start working on election,
Yeah.
3 months out. At least, so. It's just something I just wanted to mention it. I know we talked about it, keep it in your minds. That's something. It's gonna have to be replaced sooner or later.
So what we have decided when. Do they, out of curiosity, because CVS, not people's office, do they have a way to pay for it over 2 or 3 years?
Yes, yeah, you can do some type of lease thing.
You get information on that? They have it all.
Leasing.
The lease has to be for 2 years.
Pardon me?
You're only allowed, I mean, by statute to have a lease or loan for a maximum of 2 years.
Well, some companies, oh, they might offer you.
Or you have to have it where it's 1 year, I mean, renewable per policy, how we're doing it.
That's how we're doing the cars.
The cars, it's.
Not necessarily a lease, but some companies offer you a
I'll
payment.
ask.
But yeah,
Payment.
But I'm telling you, a lease or a loan.
Yeah.
Has, it's maximum 2 years. So you could carry it over 2 cycles, but that's by statute, you can check with, Ken and Brett.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, that's the Pito County is.
Took them 100s, we've had them since
Yeah, just
2004.
What,
I mean, I
It'd
think
be
so.
nice to get it.
And we take good care of our
Yes
equipment,
and
it
no.
doesn't just go into the brains
Yes
of
and
the
no.
computer, stays in our office, on shelves,
And you're happy with where it's being stored and everything?
Yes. The building over there has turned out to be
Okay.
a good
Okay.
thing for us. I was just gonna point out that we are doing a job right now in our recording, funds, that you guys, that we're taking the employees out of. So we're finishing a job there with our records going back, to the early 1800s, is what will be, when that job is completed. And I think they just completed doing the commissioner's records, they just brought those back, they're not up online yet.
That was
You guys paid out of the ARPA funds, yeah. So they haven't sent the final bill on that for us to pay yet. We'll get that. for grant money that we received this year, we've received $70,259. That's not on there. I'm just letting you know. The grant money that we brought in from elections and different things this year. Questions?
It's not a question, it's clarification. The bill just for the tax software is now 20,300. So it's 6,767. So that needs to be increased by
6,007.
767. Then Alex had just written, I think, BBAM on his, but on his tax line, you have to add that 6,767 plus his,
On his too.
on his, I think he just wrote
Did you have that on
plus
yours?
BBAM.
Mine is just on
Kim,
tax
excuse me.
software.
Amanda's is written in there. She had it from last year and we just received a $600 increase. But Alex has just said the amount, like 4,000, this is plus BBAM out to the side. You need to add the 6,767 to that.
Did we check with CPS on this, on this tax software?
CDS and offer tax.
They don't,
No,
they
they
don't
don't.
offer it. No.
And frankly, with some of the issues we've had with CDS, I would not talk about it, even if they did.
Okay, so let me make sure on these employees, one more time. Which employees are being paid, out of your funds?
Of my funds?
Yeah.
Teresa Dunaway and Gina are paid out of recording. Those are my two recording employees. And then Teresa's stipend is paid out of recording.
What you said, Brittany, earlier,
She's paid out of the vital funds.
So Teresa, and who else was it again?
Teresa and Gina. And then Brittany is paid out of vitals. And Jessica's stipend is paid out of vitals. It's up there above the side of her name there. Oh, on that sheet. 4,500 and then Teresa's is 20. So if you go to those top items,
And that's out of,
those two number 113.
and those, that's both out of.
No, 4,500's out of,
Vitals.
vitals, I'm sorry, the 25.
She's on the general fund as far as her salary.
She does most of it.
No. We do a couple of things, I think, we do what we saw today. You know, if anybody has any questions, something. We do. But I would like to get that discussion out there about about the animal control. Using that money. I think that'd be a good thing to do right now, start on that, just, after the budget process. Look at that. Look at the drawings.
I think personally, gotta do is, you know, mention cost. I've had the drawing done on cost,
Right.
We're gonna-
Then we make a decision,
That's-
if we got any money to do it or
Well,
not.
that's why I said maybe we plan on spending 20-25.
Right.
To get an architect.
Right.
and
It might be,
Well, that's what I
might
mean.
do a 3-year project.
It may be a 3-year project before we
Yeah.
put that money away.
Till we get that done, we wouldn't even know.
Right. So I think that'd be a good thing to do once we start budget, or when we're done with budget. Next thing, I think we also need to contact Brett and see, contract with him, what that's gonna look like for next year. I know she put it down at a certain salary. Make sure those numbers line up.
She
And
put
you
it
did,
down.
and you hit on something too. She hires somebody at 70, 80 or whatever. That's, well, that's gonna cause some, that would cause some problems.
Yeah, but we'll probably say, because that will go, then the unions and everybody, it'd be total chaos. And then you're bringing it on the street, some men are 2, 3, 4 years and paying 20,000 more.
Well, see, that's the same thing with the legal secretaries also. They bring somebody in without any experience and they're being paid at the same rate as everybody else. That was the reason for my question on that.
And I want,
I don't really need that.
That office seems to continually grow every year.
So- you guys have any direction you want to go? Do you want to just review those, the ones that we looked at? Or do you want to go a different direction?
Right now?
Yeah.
Kim said something about the fees. Do we want to tackle fees?
Okay, why don't we talk about that? Kim?
Yes, I sent you over, while you were discussing with the office holders, a very similar spreadsheet for fees in the general fund.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, if you would put that out, please.
And so that's just another piece of the revenue portion that we need to work on.
Let's say we bring that out, and I present the Fergus Water District harbor request. Keep working.
We want to pay that one.
So Ryan Farley submitted a new, the second payout request for Fergus. Here's the pay estimates. Jim's gonna need to sign all copies of it. See what they are. Total amount's $112,630.37. You see at the bottom. Completed work 125,144, less than 10%. 12,514.49. So that's where 112,630.37. Ryan signed off on it, but President Fergus, and you got your completion certificate signed off as well. So they know it's of the project and they today.
Did you sign up for these?
Really signed, he requested, you to sign all 4 copies. We'll keep going. I like that. Sign the claim prepared for you to make the motion and approve it.
So they've completed this amount of work.
Yes. For Ryan's statement. John.
Yeah.
He's overseeing the project. That may have been pre-ordered. I can't remember. There was, when I talked to them, as part of the project, he said that they were going to have to pay for some of the material. Now, but it wasn't going to be started for several months. But because they were It was one of those instances where we had to materials on order because there was
I think we don't have a schedule of values on this. So, are we paying for stored materials?
it's possible.
That's the way I see this. I can talk about
And if you want to hold off, I mean, until you
Tomorrow.
that's fine.
no, I'm fine with this. It's just, this isn't pipe. I don't think this is pipe and ground yet. I mean, maybe it is.
Well, he had made a comment about, having to buy material, when it became available because it was in short supply, so I'm not sure if that's what this is. And I just got this, I mean, I can, if you want to wait a day, so you can talk to them and I can present it to you tomorrow.
If you're not ready for me to sign this, then I make a motion. Let's just go ahead and set this on, see if application.
I'll give that back to you.
I'll take that.
Keep that all together.
I won't, so I'll make sure, I'm not.
Let's do
doing
this tomorrow. I'd like to
anything.
talk to them. I find out if we're paying for stored materials, then
Yeah.
All right.
if it's not installed in the ground, if it's stored materials, then we need to know where it's stored at. And if it's insured, make sure you don't have theft or loss.
Okay. Can we have our email copies, spreadsheets here?
Okay. So tracking the history of the fees in a manner I think that's helpful to the board was a more recent addition a couple of years ago. And so that is still a pretty substantial portion of the general fund revenues. So I've given you the last couple of years with an updated amount for, as up to current as we can be on this year, and an estimate for the remaining 2 months, same format, the average of the last 10 months for the months we don't know about. So in going through these, we need to do sort of a similar step where you pinpoint what you'd like these material revenue sources to be projected for 2023. There aren't, well, I would say there are quite a few. I was going to say there aren't many, but yes, there are quite a few. So do we want to start there at the top with the telephone fees? That one looks traditionally to be $2,000 a month. I believe that's what the jail indicated they would be turning over every month for that. Just let me know what number you're comfortable with.
Jail's been reduced because of, I assume, COVID.
I don't know about that. In 20 and 21, during the height of COVID, they had a stronger year and a stronger year. And then 22, they're going to be quite a bit short on. They're going to be 200 and almost 250,000 short on the 2022 budgeted revenue.
And I'm trying to. Oh, okay, you added some. Still. I mean, on our receipts report from 8/31, which I mean, that doesn't include this. The 46,989. But I mean, we had budgeted 925,000
Give me just a
housing.
second. Let me see if I,
Based off of the prior years being the 923 and the 980.
okay, let me take a look at the,
I mean, I'm showing that it's 400,000 short now.
okay, give me just one second. I may need to update that budget number in my spreadsheet. That may have been a carryover from the last year. Yeah. Yeah. So instead of being 875, 925, right?
Yeah, 925.
Okay. Which, yeah, makes it almost 300 short, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I-
And those last two predicted months, while it's an average, those still may be a little high when you look at how the 10 months has fallen over the past 10 months. So,
Possible. I don't know anything about this. I get to check and that's it. I mean, I'm asking someone in the sheriff's office why there's been such a decline. Because even in 2019, it was at 830. I mean, this is not even a break the 650. And I don't know what the,
What's,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if because they're gonna have more space available, or they're gonna bring in more of those inmates or what. I don't know. I don't know anything other than like.
these are federal inmates, right?
Yeah, we get a check and deposit. That's, I don't know. I think it's, Pinkerton, I think maybe is the one that handles the housing and everything, or the federal. Or if it's Todd, the one.
You know-
I would suggest
Todd's
talk.
I was gonna say, they're coming in tomorrow. Why don't we just hold off on this one to where maybe we can get a better understanding, come back to it. I mean, as a suggestion, that way we can talk to them and see if they can shed some light on this. Because
Okay.
really, there's something there, something's not right. We missed it somehow, but
Yeah, we just.
so do you want to wait on predicting a revenue number for that one?
that's what I suggested. You guys want to throw one out there? I don't care.
Well, I
As
think,
a starting point.
I think he's gonna have more room in that jail. Does that mean that there might be an increase,
I mean, you want to throw
you know?
700?
I have.
You can start anywhere, just come back around to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, you know,
if I put something in there, that's fine.
you were gonna say something?
Well, with the number being 630 and the monthly amounts declining, I think I would direct you more toward a 600 number versus a 700 number.
Okay, 600. Let's go with that.
Were you okay with the 24,000 on the telephone?
It's pretty consistent.
And I think then after you talk tomorrow, that 600 number may fall depending on what you hear.
Okay.
Okay.
Just for more information, where do the telephone fees come from?
The inmates, when they're in jail, they can buy telephone cards. They basically buy minutes. Okay. And so that's a pretty hot selling item. And so each month, the general fund receives $2,000 of those sales, and the remainder of those sales remain in commissary. And commissary then will buy things for the inmates such as games, books, cable TV, things to keep them engaged as best they can while they're incarcerated. It tends to decrease the level of fighting if they have some things to do.
The sheriff's fees,
Mm-hmm.
but
yeah.
10 last year, but I think wasn't there a change in something, Kim, that we were concerned?
Yeah, there was a dip, and it was, concerning that fine and fee schedules were changing, and also impact of COVID. Assessing fees is great, but you're really dependent on when criminals are going to pay their fees. So that estimate was eased down, not really knowing when they were going to pay. It looks like the last 3 years anyway, there's been fairly consistent results there, 25 to 28,000.
We collected 20,176. I mean, we collected 3,300 last month, which is what she has reflected here, and Kim's got, 3292. So
What did you say, 25?
Well, that was 25, 25%.
25,
23, 25, somewhere there. It'll make it 24. Let's look at it.
24.
24. Yep. County clerk fees. I believe the thought process behind the lower estimate for 2022 was that at some point the housing market was going to cool off and there wouldn't be as many filings. It did cool off a little bit. You see the raise from 1920 to 21, and then we see a little bit of a backward trend in 22. So it didn't cool off quite as fast as we thought it might.
Yeah, 6% mortgage rates are cool.
We had here today on that.
$545.
Good thing they kind of cut it. For a starting point.
Yes.
I mean, she's generating 53,000, a month still. Granted, another 54,000. But you've got another 50. Nobody wants to live anywhere else but Williamson County. I can tell you that much. Just from hearing and the phone calls we get from people asking about rates and everything else. 625, 650 is what I was thinking, even at the 6%. But
So 650.
615.
Good.
Circle back around again.
We're gonna come back. I'm not writing it in the square. I'm
No.
writing it down on the page right now.
Well, I'm doing it pencil.
Well, I don't have, I've got a pen.
So 5 to 582 19.
they split it out into different buckets. So whenever they redid, we redid all the fees. You had the circuit clerk fee dropped, but then the clerk schedule fee made up the difference of that. So whenever you get to the next 3 pages along, you'll see that jumped up to from 120 up to 600. So those two kind of correlate with one another.
Well, where are we at here today?
You're at 119 plus the 16, so you're basically 135. You'd only budgeted 90.
50?
I know the question though is this a fee that will be affected by the no cash bail
Yes.
instituted as of
Yes.
January? So That's what you gotta take into consideration.
Well, and also this particular fee, you will see this eventually discontinued because of the new schedule that they have. So people paying this now are under the old fine and fee schedule. So it depends on, when their issue was presented in time. So this, while you've seen a bump, I think it's because of collection activity, but this should dwindle down to nothing. And being replaced with the clerk schedule fee.
That new law, but although I read about it, probably one of the dumb things I think I've heard. But that being said, we gotta figure out what to do here on
I
this.
don't think you gotta apply.
Well,
Probably either leave it the same.
I'm
I
not,
was thinking about leaving it the same.
Probably down to 75.
Let's go on the safe
they
side.
may get those pressure, they may flip that law. Stick the same.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, what do you want to say, 75?
Let's go
What I said, 75?
75.
All right. That's not the box.
No. Not the box, not our final answer.
Criminal fees is going to have a similar outcome, where this one eventually, once people pay off their outstanding amounts, then this one will disappear as well, be replaced with scheduling fee.
Like 158
Now,
right now, but it was 128 and down to 92 and down to 78 and up to 1.
Yeah, there's a really large month in there in April, and that's where I'm thinking collections, like April, May, June, July, August, September, those were really elevated.
And they must have collected some.
So I think they sent a bunch of people to collection.
That was probably when we implemented that collection agency.
yeah, I've asked how that's going. I haven't seen a good
You
answer.
didn't implement that this year, did you?
Last year.
No.
No. But I'm
No.
saying,
3,000 in 2022 compared to
All right,
the other.
okay,
Most of them
all right.
are
Well, then, that's dropping.
It's 55. For this year's budget, it's 55.
Okay, 55.
Same.
See? Thank
Okay.
I'm going, what's the same for so high right now?
Well,
It's-
she stated this is gonna be phased out along, like, just along
This
the.
is all together we picked up.
Well, I guess the other thing too is, I don't know how that stuff works.
But there's more we gotta
You
pick
can't
up.
issue,
Okay.
you can't hold people, or you can't issue whatever benchmarks or whatever they do, or buy attachments to people who don't pay fees anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, you're gonna just be like, yeah, I know why we get.
Yeah,
See it.
what are you gonna
Give me a
do?
piece of paper, yeah. So if there's more unfunded mandates thrown at us again,
Yeah.
pick up the difference.
you. So then what do you want to keep it at?
Yeah, that's fine, just keep saying, just for now. I
55.
you said the same. I was just trying to figure out what supposed to be phased out.
Traffic fees.
you're going to see a similar phase out there too.
Those should be a lot
Yeah.
based on years ago. All right, what you want to do, 175,
It's basically going down 10% a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say.
75. 75, onward. Book it, next.
This one is holding some consistency. This one you won't see phase out.
30 or 35,
Let's go 30.
30 to 30. All right. Moving right along.
Inmate booking, that one is there to stay. I think the decrease last year was not really knowing how many were going to be booked with the COVID, but if you look, I mean, 21 was a little light, but it's held some consistency there now for 4 years.
Good, Ashley.
About 16, maybe, 16.
Yeah, 16, 9. I mean, you could probably do 20 on that one, because it's pretty stable.
Yeah, it's been around 2020 it is,
20 is.
Robert Road. Actually, kind of surprised.
Weight fines, as far as I know, those are in place. The difference you're seeing between 19 and 20 and 21 and 22 is that both of the weigh stations in Williamson County were torn down and replaced. They were closed for those years, so you didn't have a weigh station there. And so then you can tell when they reopened in 21 and 22.
Kind of, what's the status actually?
You're at 140 now.
That blows my mind. Some of the numbers. Wow.
Yeah.
You can see when it was, well,
Those things are brand new now. I mean,
yeah, they're gonna really hum it. They're gonna hum it now. You're gonna go, what, 140 or 50?
140?
Let's do
140.
140?
Yes.
140.
Arresting agency fee. I think the uptick in 2022 is just simply a result of the court process becoming more active. I think it began in 2019, and you can tell the amounts were much higher there in the fall of 19. Then, of course, the pandemic hit. So I think now that the court system is a little more active, they're actually going to get people, and this is a factor of them actually having people appear.
Keep saying go 10.
I think you should probably do 10, especially.
And,
And if you, like Kim said, if you look at the end of 19,
Mhm.
Yeah.
pretty much the most of 22, especially, I mean, can't remember when that ARPA contract was in place, when we got more processing. I think it's there. 10.
Here's the schedule fee. Here's where, for the subtractions you're doing at the top, the fines or the fees now are being shoved down here into the scheduling fee. And so as you can tell, it started in July of 19. So your first check was August. And as you can tell, those amounts just get larger and larger as they just geographically relocate one fee in your budget to this line in your budget.
Three right now.
2 months ago.
I mean, it's pretty, I mean, your lease month was 36 grand, so you had 7, you're close to 600,000, but it's-
Say 575.
6.
Tim?
That's my choices, 535.
575 or 6, or you want to split the difference?
575 or 6. Let's go 580.
I was close to 575.
So 575. Whatever.
What do you,
575.
Well,
got 575?
Yeah, we'll keep Ashley.
is that your final answer? Wow.
That's Ashley's. We'll keep him there.
That's a good answer.
All right. There we go.
Happy for now, not for the rest of the day.
Public defender, this is another sunsetting fee. And you can tell it's just kind of dwindling down.
Okay. 1,500 or less.
Yeah, so let's go 15. Or you want to go 12?
15, I wrote it down.
All right, 15.
Don't have one. That was like a change.
Civil service, this one is coming back to life a little bit. I think during the pandemic, you can tell in 19 what the activity was. And then I think the pandemic, just fewer and fewer people were being served. And now you see that coming back to life a little bit, almost back to its 2019 level.
And that September is huge compared, I mean, what's the reason? Do you have any idea? Although September was big in 2019 too, and well, and even in 2020, that was the largest. One of the largest.
Yeah, I don't know if they were serving people like for the upcoming tax sale, or if that is a typical time period for landlords to serve notices about eviction. We'll have to find out more about why September is so popular.
Just keep it at 30.
Yeah, let's keep it 30.
30.
Rock on.
I was going to ask you on the video gaming terminal fees. I saw a one-time payment for everybody in July. Is that going to be monthly, or is that just a one-time thing?
It's a one-time, the board adopted a resolution to charge $250 per gaming terminal to go along whenever Stephanie sends out the liquor fees. In the form of a separate check, which I think maybe irritated a little bit, but that should be an annual fee.
Okay, so the 19 number is good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it could go up.
Or it could go down.
Well, big question is, can we apply this to the?
The casino, that was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
How does that work in?
And I have asked that several times and I've not gotten an answer.
Well, I would say though, nevertheless, you're gonna be basically 19,000.
Yeah,
It's best case scenarios, it goes up.
I can't see it going down.
No,
Do it, make it
19.
even,
19 to,
or make it even 20.
Are you gonna grant any more?
Somebody comes in.
it's kind of,
I didn't know if there was a limit, so.
If it brings us money, it's.
I don't be on the safe side going 19.
19.
There's a couple of them are iffy about being a business.
Even, 19 even.
Yeah.
All right.
1925 or so, right?
Could be.
Okay. Tourism fees.
Treasure tourism? Ashley, I did not find a September payment posted there, and I wondered if it was misposted somewhere. We can look at that. I don't think,
We may not have the report done.
Got it.
Because that's
Yeah, that's
those are, we're still collecting those, so when with, taxes and everything, we may be.
okay. So I think you're seeing activity here above your budgeted amount because probably tourism and, hotel, motel stays are probably improving from COVID times. And so you're doing a little bit better there, I think, because of that.
It's a voluntary bed tax.
This is the 2%, and if we end up, if we get this resolution done, check on it, because I thought we would already have it finished, but, that's gonna open up all the Airbnb and getting the payments directly from Airbnb and Verbo, because it'll be online and they'll be sending us. Now granted, 30% of that's gonna go to, Asphalt, because they're the ones that are initiating this, but it'll still be at least that.
Actually,
Why are we still paying them 30%? Because we only have a 3-year contract.
This is like a whole new deal, because they're engaging with those companies.
Okay, but don't they have to come before the board to get that approved?
I don't know, I don't have a copy of that.
I thought that was only a 3-year deal.
Well,
I thought it was an existing contract, and they collect the 30% for 3 years of any new ones that they find, and then after that, it's 100% to the county.
Right.
But I don't know what the terms are, that would be something.
That would, it's pretty close to that, whether it be 30% or 40 or 45.
here's one thing that troubled me. I went down and played beach the day, spoke to several families that are really irritated. It's been going on a while. They're renting out their houses to Okay, Jim, $159 a night renting my house for 4 days. People that are renting it are vandalizing, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, loud noise. What, we're missing money. We should be charging them something. We should be getting something off of that. And then all over Lake Beach.
Well, that's the 2% that we would
But we
get.
don't, there's so many we don't know about. These people we don't know about.
I know, but that's where the ASMR comes in, and if we could get this contract signed and you pass the resolution that includes those all short-term stays. ASMR takes that resolution, sends it to Verbo, sends it to Airbnb, and everybody does this stuff online now. So they will incorporate our 2% tax on to their fee schedule, and then it'll be included in the payment, and then they will then in turn send that directly to the county. And then so we obviously give 98% of the money to, Business SI,
Right.
and then we keep that 2%. So that'll be an increase to us. I mean, not significant, but it'll still be an increase to us.
Okay.
Right now, the only way you have to look at is they literally scour the Verbo and the Airbnb rentals. There's no addresses on any of those.
That's where I'm
They
going.
look and then they try to see if they can identify a neighborhood and go out there and drive or use GIS or something to pinpoint where these things are, or Facebook or whatever else they can find if someone does it. That's the only way they're able to do it. And it's still on the honor system. We send them a notice
I know.
that, hey, you gotta sign up, but there's no teeth in it, and if they don't wanna abide by it, they don't have to.
Well,
I mean, it's very frustrating.
that, I don't promise things I can't
Yeah.
deliver, and I just don't, I'll look into it because there are 5 in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's a really good chance you'll never hear from those 5 that they're doing. How do we, I know he's scouring, but how do we,
You can't, except for the fact that
they're
almost
driving these people insane.
all of them are done online. Almost every one of the
Well, some of
reservations
these-
are done.
Some of those,
They-
shouldn't it be their association?
I told them to the association, I said, I didn't even come to the association, and they get irritable, I don't care. But you know what? The thing is that these people are making a killing off of it, we're not getting anything on it. And it's the same people coming back every year, they're not outside pushing it on Facebook or whatever, because they're the same people, they're just coming back. And they're the same people causing the problems.
Yeah.
And we're getting zero, or SIT zero, I mean,
I know, I mean, it's
all over the lake, I can drive you around forever.
we get 40% more than what we're getting
My
now.
whole thing was,
Less.
can somehow, be cut out as, basically.
No, because I have sent emails and scoured the internet to try to find any kind of legal department or anything with Airbnb and Verbo, and I can find nothing. I've sent emails to their customer service, sent them like the information, said I had this, get no response. I call and get no response. So, I mean, this is the way, and the city of Marion did this with Asmar, and they now, that's what we got the resolution. Because we took theirs and then we modified it to fit our needs.
So who signed up?
The resolution?
Yeah.
Nobody has yet. It's still, I mean, Brett's working.
Yeah,
I gave Brett a stack full of
Yeah, he
papers.
thinks he's falling
Because
for it.
it's gone through, Philip to Drew to Thomas to nobody to Rex. So, Brett's trying to take up pieces. So, but yeah, I've been working on this for a year.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah,
because
it drives me nuts.
I just went down there, it's unbelievable.
I go to that.
All right, so getting back to this, where we going to end up on?
This looks pretty steady.
Give me a number. What you want to do?
6. Go with
6,000.
6, Kim.
6,000, he says. What you had on this one, Alex?
Well, it's a one-time deal. So that's
I mean, that's pretty
you, excuse me? This is the sale and air fee
Yeah.
that the commissioners approved to enact for the tax sale. So there's a fee that's paid, on top of the tax sale. And if it gets to $100,000 on the balance, that's the maximum I can keep in the sale and air fee. So all the sale and airs that are given to Pam and presented,
It's a
and
lot.
it's a pretty fair amount, but what you can do with this, you used to take all the fees out from all the taxing bodies. Now I can pay all the interest and all the fees out of this account, so the taxing bodies all get the base amount they're due, whatever they, whatever it is.
So do you think we should keep it at that? That's just one time hit and forget it.
No, I mean, it's annual. I can't. You gotta look at some of the balances on that account. I mean, it's gonna be higher, is what I think. It's not on this report, it's on, because it's through the collector system. I'm pretty sure it's almost at 100,000. I mean, you can easily, I think I'll easily transfer over 50, but I mean, I can verify the balance and that, but I don't foresee my tax bill being less than what it has been in the past.
So you need to bump this up
I would probably bump it up. I mean,
50 or higher.
I would say 50. I think I average 60 some odd thousand.
Okay, 50.
Per, 50.
It is.
Yeah. And I'll verify what the current balance is.
Assessor's mapping. 1,000. I don't know where we have with that. It's still 96.
Kim, 441. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. Numbers transposed. Never mind.
Okay.
I mean, we're at 986 right now. I can't remember. I mean, that's sporadic. What does that come from?
It is a reimbursement from
Okay.
the management, and I think it is, I think sometimes they try to do it monthly, but then they end up doing it quarterly. Because there are multiple deposits in August, June, March, January. So I think they're reimbursing or paying over some very small amounts each month that add up to about $1,000 a year.
Or something. Okay. You're making Alex pay out
Uh-huh.
for all these employees. I think I requested this last year, since I was paying out my employees the $3,000 of the CD money for all the files that I had sent. I asked to keep that since I was paying it out. I mean, you get $1,000 when he's already paid out 60 or 80 or 100,000. All these employees. I mean, it's $1,000 you gotta have somewhere else, but nevertheless, I mean, that's just an overview. That's, I'm just providing information.
I don't know. Should we do 1,000?
Yeah.
1,000 sold. All right. Trucking right along.
Do you want animal control at 100?
What would it do?
100. Yeah, we projected total on that.
For animal control?
No. We're keeping it at 100.
Okay. You mean total overall for all of them? Yeah. Okay. 2,455,500. which I can re-email you this sheet, if you'd like that for your records.
Those numbers may change.
Okay,
Uh,
I understand.
Doesn't matter.
No. Oh. Okay.
Moving on, then it's 10 to 12. You'll take a break, come
Sure.
back,
Sure.
1 o'clock. You guys will do 1 o'clock.
Okay.
1 o'clock.
Okay.
Recess till 1 p.m. today.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Gentry.
Yeah.
Jim Madison.
Should you say yay? See, we're getting called off, we did your left hand up. Oh, God.